It was my birthday, a day that should have been filled with love and celebration. But when I walked into my own home, I realized something shocking. My family had completely ignored me. No hugs, no wishes, no acknowledgement. I was invisible. Little did they know, this betrayal would ignite a plan that would change everything forever. It was my birthday, a day meant for love and celebration. But this year, I found myself standing in the doorway of my own home, completely ignored by the family I had trusted most. The balloons hung half-heartedly, the small cake left on the counter, sunlight filtering through the window onto the empty room. My heart sank as I realized that the joy I had once associated with this day had been replaced by a suffocating emptiness. The laughter, the warmth, the shared memories, all of it felt like a distant dream. For years, I had done everything for my family. I cooked their meals, washed their clothes, patched up their mistakes, and sacrificed my own desires to ensure their happiness. I had believed that love was mutual, that my efforts were appreciated, that my presence mattered. But on this day, the truth became unbearable. I was invisible. My family had left me alone, not just physically, but emotionally. They had made it clear that my existence was irrelevant to them. I remembered the past birthdays, the ones filled with laughter, colorful balloons, and the aroma of fresh cakes. Those were the moments I had cherished, the moments I had worked tirelessly to create. And yet, it seemed that all those years of love and care had amounted to nothing. The silence of this birthday screamed louder than any words could, a harsh reminder of their disregard. I questioned myself. Had I failed them? Had I done something wrong? Deep down, I knew the answer. This was not about me. It was about their selfishness, their inability to see the value of someone who had given them everything. Anger mixed with sorrow, creating a storm that refused to subside. I felt hurt, betrayed, and yet a spark of determination ignited within me. I would not let this betrayal define me. If they refused to recognize my worth, I would show them, not with confrontation, not with pleading, but with action. I would prove my strength in a way that could not be ignored. I walked through the house I had inherited, a large old structure filled with memories. To them, it was just a building. To me, it was a symbol of resilience, of legacy, and in that realization, I found my purpose. This house could become more than just a home. It could become a statement, a testament to what I was capable of achieving. I envisioned transforming the neglected rooms into a space that would thrive, a venture that would reflect my ingenuity and perseverance. The days that followed were filled with planning. I measured rooms, sketched layouts, and considered every detail. I thought about the purpose of each space, how it could serve a greater function, how it could become a beacon of success. Every corner of that house would tell a story of resilience, independence, and quiet triumph. I did not need to confront my family directly. I would let my actions speak louder than any words ever could. I researched tirelessly, drawing up detailed plans, calculating costs, and visualizing the transformation. I imagined the empty rooms filled with life, energy, and purpose. I pictured a space where people would gather, share, and appreciate what I had built. The house was no longer just a place. It had become a canvas on which I would paint my story of empowerment and revenge in the most constructive sense possible. Weeks passed as I devoted myself entirely to this endeavor. I worked day and night, pouring my energy into every detail. Walls were painted, furniture arranged, and every minor aspect perfected. The grueling work was a testament to my determination. This project was no longer just about the house. It was about reclaiming my dignity and proving that I could rise above betrayal. Neighbors and friends began to notice the transformation. The once empty rooms now held life, filled with warmth and vitality. The venture I had envisioned, a cozy business with a unique twist, began to take shape. Slowly, word spread about the woman who had turned isolation into empowerment. People were curious, intrigued, and soon they came to witness the results of my efforts firsthand. The opening day arrived. I watched as visitors, strangers yet warmly welcomed, walked through the doors that had once felt so cold and unwelcoming. Their smiles, their compliments, and their genuine appreciation brought a sense of fulfillment that I had never experienced before. It was a powerful realization. Recognition does not always come from those who are closest to you. Sometimes it comes from the world outside. The very people who had abandoned me were beginning to hear about my success. Yet, I did not need to announce it. The thriving space, the bustling energy, and the sense of accomplishment spoke for themselves. Every visitor, every moment of shared joy reinforced the undeniable truth. I had transformed their indifference into a legacy of achievement. As I reflected on the journey, a mixture of emotions overwhelmed me. The betrayal that had once caused so much pain had now become the driving force behind my resilience. I had learned that adversity can be a powerful teacher, that challenges can reveal hidden strengths, and that the absence of acknowledgement from others does not diminish one's own worth. I thought about the moments of solitude, the nights spent planning, the days consumed by effort. Each step had been a choice to rise above despair, to channel pain into creation, to transform isolation into opportunity. I had built something lasting, not only for myself, but for the future, a symbol of perseverance and ingenuity. Sitting in the quiet of my bustling home, I felt a profound sense of satisfaction. The house, once neglected and empty, had become a vibrant testament to what could be achieved through determination and vision. I had proven to myself, more than anyone else, that I was capable of remarkable things. The world outside had acknowledged my worth, and in doing so, had validated the journey I had undertaken. The transformation of the house was more than a physical change. It was an emotional and psychological victory. I had reclaimed my sense of purpose, reshaped my identity, and established a legacy that could not be ignored. The family that had left me alone on my birthday could no longer dismiss my accomplishments. Though they remained distant, the impact of my success resonated far beyond their recognition. Each room, each carefully arranged detail, each interaction with visitors served as a reminder of what I had overcome. The house, now a thriving hub of life and enterprise, embodied the resilience, creativity, and unwavering determination that had guided me through the darkest moments. It was a testament to the power of turning adversity into opportunity. In this newfound space, I discovered more than just success. I found a sense of empowerment, an affirmation of my capabilities, and a deep understanding of the value of self-reliance. The isolation that had once caused despair had been transformed into a source of strength. Every obstacle had been a lesson, every moment of solitude an opportunity to cultivate resilience. I realized that life's greatest lessons often come from unexpected sources. Betrayal, neglect, and abandonment had initially felt like insurmountable burdens. but they had ultimately forged a path to personal growth and achievement. The pain I had endured became the foundation upon which I built something enduring, meaningful, and transformative. As I stood amidst the lively atmosphere of the house, observing the interactions of visitors, I felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The laughter, conversations, and shared experiences created an energy that was both comforting and invigorating. It was a living proof that adversity could be harnessed to create something truly remarkable. The journey had been long, filled with moments of doubt, fatigue, and uncertainty. Yet, each step forward reinforced the conviction that resilience and determination could overcome even the most painful experiences. I had taken the emptiness and neglect that once defined my existence and transformed it into a narrative of triumph and empowerment. I reflected on the irony of the situation. The very family who had ignored me had inadvertently set the stage for my greatest achievements. Their abandonment had forced me to confront my own potential, to explore the depths of my creativity and resolve, and to embrace the power of self-determination. What once seemed like a curse had become a catalyst for remarkable growth. In the quiet moments, I acknowledged the lessons learned through this journey. Patience, perseverance, and unwavering belief in oneself were essential ingredients for success. The house had become more than a business. It had become a symbol of resilience, a testament to the strength that emerges when one refuses to be diminished by the actions of others. Through this experience, I had discovered that true fulfillment is not contingent upon the recognition of those who fail to see one's value. Instead, it emerges from the commitment to one's own vision, the courage to act decisively, and the ability to transform adversity into opportunity. The house, once abandoned and overlooked, now stood as a beacon of these principles. As I walked through the vibrant rooms, observing the fruits of my labor, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Each detail, each carefully considered arrangement, and each positive interaction with visitors reinforced the reality that I had created something enduring and meaningful. The journey from solitude to empowerment the house had become more than a building. It was a symbol of resilience, a testament to the journey I had endured. Every corner reflected my determination, every room spoke of my courage, and every visitor brought life to what was once a silent, empty space. But even as I reveled in this newfound success, I knew that the story was far from over. The family that had abandoned me still existed in my past, a shadow lingering in the corners of my thoughts. And shadows have a way of resurfacing when least expected. Word of my success began to reach them, first through whispers, then through undeniable signs. A neighbor mentioned seeing someone from my family passing by, peering curiously at the transformed house. A friend casually remarked that a distant cousin had asked about me, and their voice carried a mixture of disbelief and admiration. The very people who had thought I was powerless now had no choice but to confront the reality of what I had achieved without them. I watched silently from the window as my mother approached the house one afternoon, her posture hesitant, her eyes filled with uncertainty. She had once dismissed me, ignored my presence, and overlooked my needs, but now she stood before what I had built. I felt a strange mixture of emotions, satisfaction, vindication, and even a tinge of sorrow. Years of pain and neglect could not be undone, but I allowed myself the quiet satisfaction of knowing that I had risen above it all. She stepped inside, her footsteps echoing softly against the polished floors. I greeted her calmly, with a controlled smile that masked the storm of emotions within me. She looked around, taking in the vibrant atmosphere, the carefully arranged rooms, the joyful faces of patrons and visitors. Her eyes widened slightly, a mixture of astonishment and unspoken regret flashing across her face. You did all this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, my gaze steady. "Yes, I built this on my own. Every detail, every choice, every effort was mine." The weight of silence settled between us, thick and heavy. I had no intention of seeking forgiveness or attempting to repair a bond that had been neglected for so long. Instead, I allowed my success to speak for me. Actions, I realized, were far more powerful than words. In the days that followed, my family began to approach cautiously, each visit marked by hesitation and unspoken questions. My father, usually stern and dismissive, came to see the cafe with a mixture of pride and disbelief. My siblings, who had once ignored my existence, lingered at the edges, unsure of how to engage with someone who had become so undeniably independent and accomplished. I welcomed them, not with open arms or warm embraces, but with the quiet dignity of someone who had endured. Each interaction was carefully measured, each conversation a subtle assertion of the strength I had cultivated. I had learned the hard way that power is best demonstrated through presence and achievement, not through confrontation or argument. One afternoon, my younger sister approached me with a tentative expression, holding a small notebook in her hands. I heard about what you've done," she began. "I just wanted to understand how you managed it all." I took a deep breath, considering my response. This was not an invitation for reconciliation, nor was it a plea for recognition. It was an acknowledgement that they had finally realized the depth of my capability. "It wasn't easy," I said simply. "Every choice I made, every obstacle I faced, required determination. I turned the pain of being ignored into a motivation to create something meaningful. That's all you need to know." Her eyes glistened, not just with surprise, but with a dawning respect. For the first time, she saw me not as the overlooked family member, but as a force to be reckoned with. It was a subtle victory, a quiet affirmation that my journey had not been in vain. As the weeks passed, I began to notice a change in their demeanor. My mother, who had once dismissed my efforts, started to visit more frequently, lingering longer, observing the bustling life of the cafe and the community I had built. My siblings, while still cautious, began to acknowledge my presence, sometimes even offering assistance or advice, though I always maintained the boundary I had set. Through it all, I remained focused on the larger purpose, creating a space that not only reflected my resilience, but also served as a sanctuary for others. Customers came seeking comfort, stories, and experiences. They found warmth, challenging, yet infinitely rewarding. I understood that the story was far from over. The foundation had been laid, the transformation achieved, and the path forward illuminated. The lessons learned, the resilience cultivated, and the achievements realized would continue to guide me in the days, months, and years to come. I had not only rebuilt a house, I had reshaped my inspiration and the tangible proof that adversity can be transformed into opportunity. Each smile, each compliment, each moment of shared joy reinforced the reality that I had created something enduring and meaningful. Yet, Even as success flourished, there were moments of reflection that brought the sting of past betrayals sharply into focus. I remembered the countless times I had been, the birthdays spent in solitude, the whispered dismissals and casual indifference. Those memories, though painful, were now tempered by the knowledge that I had overcome them. The house, the business, the thriving community, all were evidence that I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the house, I stood at the window and watched the city come alive. The laughter of patrons mingled with the soft music playing in the background. The aroma of freshly baked pastries and brewed coffee filled the air. It was a sensory symphony of triumph, one that contrasted sharply with the silence and neglect I had once endured. I thought about my family once more, wondering if they truly understood the magnitude of what they had missed. Perhaps they had learned a lesson, though I knew better than to rely on their recognition for validation. My strength, my worth, and my accomplishments were not contingent upon their acknowledgement. I had built something far greater than approval. I had built a legacy. In the quiet moments, I reflected on the transformation not just of the house, but of myself. The fear, pain, and isolation that had once defined my life had been alchemized into confidence, creativity, and independence. I had learned that the most profound victories are often internal, invisible to the world, yet deeply felt. The cafe became a hub for stories, for laughter, for connection. People from all walks of life came to experience the atmosphere, to witness the result of determination and vision. They were drawn not just to the physical space, but to the story it embodied. A tale of overcoming, of rising above neglect, of turning betrayal into empowerment. Through this journey, I discovered the power of agency. I realized that the ability to shape one's destiny lies not in the recognition of others, but in the courage to act, to create, and to persevere. The house was a vessel for this realization, a tangible manifestation of the resilience that had carried me through the darkest moments. Even as I continued to manage the business and welcome visitors, I maintained a quiet awareness of the lingering shadows of the past. The family that had once abandoned me remained a part of my history, but they no longer held sway over my present or future. Their absence had, paradoxically, granted me the clarity and focus to achieve what I had once thought impossible. I learned to embrace solitude, to find strength in independence, and to channel past pain into constructive energy. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities, and new moments of growth. The house, once silent and abandoned, had become a living testament to perseverance, creativity, and the transformative power of determination. As time passed, I noticed subtle shifts in the behavior of my family. Curiosity replaced indifference, cautious respect replaced casual dismissal. Yet I remained measured, understanding that true recognition is earned, not demanded. The journey had taught me patience, resilience, and the importance of maintaining dignity in the face of neglect. I reflected on the irony of the situation. The very people who had overlooked and abandoned me had inadvertently provided the catalyst for my greatest achievements. Their disregard had forced me to confront my own potential, to explore my capabilities, and to embrace the full extent of my agency. What they had intended as a slight had become the impetus for transformation. The house, now thriving with life and purpose, served as a daily reminder that adversity can be converted into opportunity, that neglect can inspire ingenuity and that isolation can foster independence. It stood as a symbol not only of personal triumph, but also of the power inherent in embracing challenges and overcoming obstacles. Through these experiences, I developed a profound understanding of resilience. Standing amidst the bustling environment, observing the interactions, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment that went beyond words. Every smile, every laugh, every word of appreciation from visitors reminded me that I had created something far greater than a house or a business. I had created a testament to resilience, a legacy built from the very experiences that once threatened to break me. But the story was not complete without the final reckoning. The moment when those who had abandoned me would face the undeniable proof of what I had achieved without their support or recognition. It was not vengeance I sought, it was acknowledgement, a quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing they could no longer dismiss my worth. One evening, my mother appeared at the doorstep once more, accompanied by my father and siblings. Their expressions were mixed with awe, disbelief, and a tentative hope that perhaps bridges could be rebuilt. I welcomed them, but this time I let silence carry the weight of my journey. They walked through the vibrant halls, taking in the atmosphere, the carefully curated details, and the thriving business. Every element spoke louder than any words could. I had turned abandonment into triumph. They finally understood. Their silence, their hesitation, and their curiosity reflected the impact of my efforts. No explanation was necessary. The proof was evident in the laughter echoing through the rooms, the warm interactions of the customers, and the undeniable vitality that filled the space. I watched them as they realized the depth of what they had ignored, a quiet victory resonating within me. My younger sister approached again, her eyes glistening with emotion. I didn't realize. I never imagined you could achieve all this, she murmured. I nodded, offering a small, composed smile. You didn't see it before, but now you do. And that's all that matters. Through this encounter, I understood a profound truth. The acknowledgement of others is secondary to self-recognition. Their delayed admiration was no longer the goal. The journey itself, the transformation I had undergone, and the legacy I had built were the ultimate rewards. I had found fulfillment in my own accomplishments, in the lives I touched, and in the resilience I cultivated. The following months were marked by continued growth and exploration. I expanded the business, introduced new services, and engaged with the community in ways that reinforced the positive impact of my journey. The once empty house was now a hub of energy, creativity, and connection. People came not just to witness success, but to be inspired by the story behind it. I occasionally saw my family, each encounter colored by newfound respect and understanding. They no longer approached me with indifference or judgment. Instead, there was a sense of acknowledgement, a recognition of the strength and determination that had propelled me forward. And yet, I remained measured, knowing that true empowerment lies not in the opinions of others, but in the knowledge of one's own worth. As I reflected on the entirety of the journey, I recognized the immense growth I had experienced. From the depths of solitude and betrayal, I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more capable than I had ever imagined. The challenges I faced had been transformed into stepping stones, each one reinforcing my resilience, creativity, and confidence. The house and business were symbols of more than just financial success. They were representations of self-reliance, determination, and the power of transforming adversity into opportunity. Every decision I made, every action I took, was guided by the lessons I had learned through pain and neglect. In this way, the journey became as valuable as the destination itself. One day, while sitting in the heart of the bustling space, I received a letter. It was from a distant relative who had once dismissed me, unaware of the struggles I had endured. They expressed surprise, admiration, and a desire to reconnect. I read the words, a sense of calm satisfaction washing over me. I had no need to chase validation. It had come in its own time, on its own terms, and without compromise. Through the interactions with visitors, friends, and even my family, I realized that the true essence of empowerment lies in independence. The ability to create, to build, and to thrive without relying on the approval of others is the ultimate form of strength. My journey was no longer defined by the neglect I had suffered, but by the accomplishments I had achieved and the lives I had touched along the way. The lessons learned were invaluable: patience, perseverance, self-belief, and the capacity to turn hardship into opportunity. Each day brought new challenges, but also new triumphs, reinforcing the understanding that the measure of success is found not in recognition, but in the unwavering pursuit of one's goals. Over time, my family came to respect the boundaries I had